Beautiful. So what I want you to do when we go into the course is I want you to introduce yourself, say hello. If there's any links that you want to share, please do that in the group. That would be amazing. The reason that this course is so powerful is because what we're doing is we're recalibrating your energy at every single level: emotional, physical, spiritual, and intellectually. And because of that, you'll hear me say this a lot, everything is energy. So your finances will recalibrate too. Isn't that exciting? Because everything's connected, and the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And we'll talk about breaking patterns next week. And what I want to do to start off with is I want to share with you something beautiful that my coach shared with me when I was running my marketing company at Bushens. A beautiful man called Philip Grundle, who sadly passed away earlier this year. But he gave me this, the 4 agreements, as a gift, as like a Christmas present a few years back. And I now use the 4 agreements in everything that I do. So it was a beautiful gift. So what I've done is, they're a bit like oracle cards. And what I've taken a photograph, and I'll share these in the Facebook group, because the images are beautiful. So the 4 agreements are: always do your best. Pulled 4 cards. And the first one is take action without expecting a reward. And that was interesting because, of course, this is what happens with me when I run this course. In the past, I would have been like, why am I not getting more people signing up for this course? Why is this not happening? But now I'm just, it's okay, it's meant to be. Whatever shows up for me is divine timing. The second one is be impeccable with your word. And it says, seek to know the truth. On the back of these cards are something in detail, which I'll share with you as well. The third one is, don't take anything personally. Ignore the opinions of others. Oh, we're all guilty of that at some point, I think, aren't we? It's what people think of you has got nothing to do with you. It's that, isn't it? And then the final one is, don't make assumptions. Eliminate gossip. So in that don't make assumptions, on the back it says, making assumptions is a setup for suffering, because usually we gossip about our assumptions. That person doesn't like me. Why is it that this is not happening? You know, all that usual stuff. We make assumptions and believe we are right. Then we defend our assumptions and try to make others wrong. It's powerful, that, isn't it? What not making assumptions was a key learning for me. I've done it in the past and I've definitely had my fingers burnt. So going back to the third one, I think it was, don't take anything personally. It says on the back, whatever people do, feel, think or say, don't take it personally. Others are going to have their own opinion according to their belief system. So whatever they think about you is not about you, it's about them. So that links beautifully into don't make assumptions, but on the receiving end, doesn't it? And then always do your best. On the reverse, it says, do your best and take the action because you love it, not because you expect a reward. When you take action without expecting a reward, you enjoy every action, and you can even receive greater rewards than you imagined. I'm going to talk about this in much more detail a little bit further down the line, but that's a powerful, powerful reminder. And then finally, be impeccable with your word. On the reverse, it says, when you hear an opinion and believe it, you make an agreement and it becomes part of your belief system. The only thing that can break this agreement is to make a new one based on the truth. The truth will out. Only the truth has the power to set you free. So in summary, when we're basically showing up, doing our best aligned with who we really are, all this other stuff doesn't really matter, does it? It's about showing up every day and doing what you are here to cause and create. Each one of us have a gift and a medicine. Your gift is what makes you uniquely you, and your medicine is how you share it with the world. And again, I'll keep saying this at the beginning of the course a little bit. We'll go into that in much more detail later on. So I want you to agree, and if you pop this in the chat, I want you to agree in the comments that you will agree to those 4 agreements, if you see what I mean. If you just type in, I agree, that would be amazing. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're going to do the topic of this week, which is about, the first half of the course is about diving deep. So you may get some things that are coming up for you that you might feel triggered by something. You might want to ask me personal questions. You've all got my contact details by WhatsApp now. So I want you to be able to reach out and ask me questions. I've still got ladies who've done the course in the past who are still reaching out to me. I had a lady on Saturday that was contacted me about something, and that's okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the 4 levels of consciousness. So the 4 levels are to me, by me, through me, and as me. So the first stage is to me, otherwise known as victim consciousness. And you'll hear people say things like, why does this always happen to me? I never seem to be able to get a break. This breaks down, I can't get forward, I'm always poorly. You know, all that victim consciousness. In general, they are living a life at like that lowest vibrational level. I'll come on to that in a little while. They believe that their life is controlled by external sources rather than by self-choice or self-responsibility. And it's always about blame and shame. I was definitely in that victim consciousness for a long, long time. But it's what I've been taught. So we believe what we're taught, don't we? The second stage is by me consciousness. Now, by me consciousness is, you'll hear this a lot from people who run their own business, or mums, busy mums with kids and all that, you know, creative, spinning lots of plates. And they'll say, I might as well just do it myself. It'll never get done if I don't do it. That's by me consciousness. And it's action. It's about do all the time. And we don't stop, slow down, and feel into what we're here to cause and create. It's the vertical connection to source rather than the horizontal connection to asking other people what you need to do, getting other people's opinions, that sort of thing. So it's the opportunity when you're in that by me consciousness to release control. So in the morning, I'll sit and I'll do my meditation and I'll think, what 3 things am I here to cause and create today? And what that does is it releases the overwhelm. Because when you listen to source energy, this is about taking aligned action rather than the, you know, we still have to do all the day-to-day stuff like getting children off to school and, you know, all that other stuff. But when we take aligned action, it's where the magic really starts to happen. So stage 3 is through me consciousness. This is channel consciousness, where you might have a spiritual practice like meditation, visioning, affirmation, prayer, but you are much more in that next level where you're perhaps doing more meditation, you're listening to the messages that are coming through, and you're taking much more aligned action. Life gets less busy and more intuitive. It's the opportunity to give up ego and a sense of separation. So I think the by me consciousness, the second level, we perhaps might have a tiny bit of spiritual curiosity. It's like, oh, that was interesting. What happened there? But this is much more about, yeah, I'm totally all in. I know that it works. I just need to practice it more. And energy is something where it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. I go to spiritual church on a Wednesday evening, and they teach that there. The messages you get from Source, they'll only give you more if they can see that you're listening. It's interesting, isn't it? And then finally, it's like, this is like the Holy Grail, as me consciousness, where you're being conscious, you're meditating daily, you have other spiritual practices by choice, and I at one with God, Source, energy, whatever your label is for spiritual practice, it's all the same thing, it's just a different label. And it's the opportunity to experience limitless awareness. Isn't that beautiful? So my journey, I was always in the victim. And when I found that energy healing and released all that stuff that was keeping me stuck and playing small, I was doing lots of courses. I was doing all the time. And what's happened now is that by doing my energy healing and the Reiki layer that beautifully goes over the top of that, my anger's gone. I actually don't care what other people think of me anymore. They can think what they like. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So if you want to pop in the chat where you feel you're at now, what's interesting is, depending on who we're with and how we're feeling, we can drop from one to another. So it's fluid. You're not continuously in that zone, that area all the time. You might drop into victim when you're with family, because it takes you back to childhood, or you might feel super spiritual when you're doing your meditation and your practice. Yeah, just a little bit of awareness there. Yeah, so Leonie says, I think I'm between 2 and stage 2 and 3. Yeah. Yeah, Joanne, do. Yeah, 2 and 3. Beautiful. Yeah. That's a really nice place to be, isn't it? But it's okay if you're not. You know, this is what this course is about, is to help you release some of those layers. Minka, 2 and 3. Yeah, beautiful. All right. So the next thing is, we're going to talk about divine masculine, Farida, 2 and 3. Oh, you're all in a similar place. Isn't that good? Yeah, everything, divine timing. You're all here for a reason, aren't you? So we're going to now talk about divine feminine and divine masculine. So I know that most of you will know this, but just for those of you perhaps that don't, we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. And it can also reflect externally in relationships too. I think, so this is the first piece of your reflection work. And it's in your notebook, so don't feel like you need to write all this down. Perhaps just capture in your journal the bits that really stand out to you as I'm talking. Because also, we will cover this in week 3, money is masculine energy. So the way that you think about men is the way that you think about money. Honestly, this is my most fascinating subject. I find it absolutely intriguing. So let's look at divine feminine first. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat. And as we get to the end of this, I'll go through the questions. Divine feminine. She sees the big picture, desires expansion and growth. Absolute self-love and acceptance of who she is. I've gone all fuzzy. It's like, beautiful. Happy to get vulnerable, authentic and transparent. Intuition. We've forgotten as women how to connect to this powerful feminine energy. Because we've been so busy working in a man's world with the do, that we've forgotten how to listen to that stuff that's sitting there beneath the surface. She chooses and nurtures new creations, innovates these ideas and adds to them, comes up with solutions to problems, is deeply present. You see this with these gorgeous mama bears, don't you, that are just surrounded by their families and have just got time for everyone. When we see it in relationships, she adores him and he adores her, he worships her. And she's like, what do you need for me to love you more? And he's like, how can I provide for you to make you even more of that beautiful, powerful feminine that you need to be? We see relationships where this works beautifully. They are in harmony with one another. She allows him to be that powerful, strong, masculine provider that he needs to be. And he allows her to be that beautiful, intuitive nurturer. Isn't that gorgeous? Really beautiful and powerful energy. But that's within us too. You know, when we're running our own business, we have to step into our masculine. It's like when I wrote my book. I had to get into my creative feminine to be creative and write. But then I had to step into masculine to take it out to the world and promote it. So that's the feminine and masculine when you're working in your business. It takes a lot of energy to move from one to the other. So be careful about how you structure your day. So my day is creative feminine in the morning and action masculine in the afternoon. And just naturally have that, you know, that switch in the middle of the day. Trusts masculine to provide time, space, and resources necessary to bring creation into life. We were born to create in every sense of the word. It's a powerful statement, that, isn't it? Radical self-trust. It's okay. Because if it doesn't work out quite the way I intended, what's the lesson there? Basks in being in the unknown as she enjoys protection of the masculine. Chooses. Commands. It's like standing on the top of a mountain and going, the view from the top is marvellous. Come and join me and hold out your hand and invite them to the top of the mountain with you. What we do is, this is going into the distorted feminine, sometimes is we'll go to the bottom of the mountain and we're pushing them up, our clients, trying to save them, when actually we're not doing them any favours by doing that. It's like teaching children to be amazing adults. It's giving them the tools to do it, but then they have to learn their own way, don't they? Empowers others through shining their light, doesn't do saving. From a marketing point of view, when we embody what we teach, these are the most powerful posts you can post. It's like, this woman's totally got it. She totally gets it and is walking the walk. Flirts with marketing. That's powerful feminine, divine feminine, strong personal boundaries and high standards, and communicates them well. It's like, that's not okay. You can't speak to me like that. Or whatever it is. It's pulling people up on their language as they communicate with you or other women. It's not okay, is it? Or other men. Trusts others with their guard down. There's a beautiful book by Brené Brown. I know that most of you will have heard of it. And she talks about strong back and soft and open heart. And I will take a copy of it, a photo of it, and I'll put it in the group. It's stunning. It's like the one beautiful page, you know, that stands out for me in that book. An internal source of value, vertical connection to source, full of self, collaborates with the universe, surrenders. I love that word. Surrenders. And has fun. Isn't that gorgeous? They're just beautiful, aren't they? Okay, so now let's look at divine masculine. So don't forget that this is in your energy too. This is not just your partner or, you know, for men. Honors the feminine as the one who knows. Brings process and strategy to expansion and growth. Embraces feminine in her full, naked glory. No judgment. Isn't that beautiful? Action. Because it's okay doing all this downloading from source and all this meditation, but to run the business, we've actually got to take action and do something, haven't we? Creates fire. Provides spiritual motivation to move forward. You can hear it in the language, can't you? Loops back to feminine, and each step of potential is brave in the face of challenge and change. It's like, oh, that's scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. Loves to give. What is it I can give you? What is it that you need from me to help take this forward? The provider within. Aware of its powerful connection with all there is, no hustle, no hard work involved. Serves the feminine for the greatest good. Trust me, I'll hold you. Delivers joy in pleasing the feminine. Cherishes the feminine in all her power. It's like, you're amazing. I love you. What else can I give you? Initiates. Now from marketing, that's selling. High levels of responsibility. I'm sorry I fucked up. What can I do to make it right? Focused. Aware of his power and using it responsibly, is compassionate, aligns personal will with universal will, is driven. And then finally, invites the stretching of experience. How could I make this better? How could I improve it? What else do I need to add? Interesting, that guys. Okay, so we're going to go to the distorted now. So obviously the opposite way around. See if any of these resonate with you. Waiting for saving. It's like, I'll wait until I get my next qualification. I'm waiting till I get my next client before I do. There's a lot of waiting going on when it's distorted feminine energy. Needs to prove herself. Never good enough, weak personal boundaries. That was a bit like me talking, you know, at the bottom of the mountain, pushing. I call it giving away your uterus. When you give away, I was guilty of this when I first started running my marketing company. I was charging very little money for being like a full-time marketing manager for businesses all over the place. And you can imagine I was ending up disappearing up my WhatsApp because I just couldn't get any traction with it. And what happens there is that you attract people who are ringing you at Friday night at 9 o'clock. And yeah, it was crazy, mental. So strong personal boundaries are crucial, particularly when you're running a business. Saving others. An example of this is mums, really, is a best example I can think of, where they're doing everything for their children, when actually what we're not doing is teaching them how to be amazing little humans because we're doing so much for them. They're not learning their lessons along the way, are they? Dishonesty and manipulation, needy of attention. Does my bum look big in this? You know, oh, thanks, this old thing, you know. Oh, I think Farida's popped out. I'm just letting her back in again. So that external sense of validation from other people because there isn't that internal self-worth going on. Codependency patterns. I see this with mothers and daughters where they're on the phone to each other all the time. Because it's that how you do anything is how you do everything, isn't it? And of course, if you're poorly or there's a particular thing going on, but yeah, I find that, yeah, unusual. Inauthentic, wearing masks. Going out with no makeup on. Going out with makeup on, would never go out the door with no makeup on. Always dressed to the nines. How are you? I'm fine. Where underneath the surface, your legs are going like the clappers and you're like, oh my God. I think we've all been there, haven't we? We've been running our own businesses. What I see is the real magic happens when you start to be authentic. It's okay to be authentic. When you say, do you know what? I've been having a bit of a shit time. That's when people connect with you. I put a post on Facebook from my old bird board days the other day. Gosh, I've had so many messages from people. Authenticity is very powerful. Feels better than others. Comparisonitis. I saw this when I was marketing manager at Leeds College of Art a lot, particularly with creatives. I think creatives naturally can be a bit vulnerable and open and susceptible to stuff. Generally, I'm not saying, you know, all the time. And they'll go, yeah, but they're doing this and they're charging that and what they're doing. And I've been looking at the competition. It's like, goodness, stay in your own lane. Stop looking at what everybody else is doing. What everybody else is doing has got nothing to do with you. If you focus that energy on your zone of genius, guess what? Be so much better. So there's that vampire energy, obsession with external appearance, obsession with youth, jealousy, material envy, feels empty, feels lost, self-righteous, self-judgment. It's all that distorted feminine energy. And then because of that, there's a lack of time, money, energy, love, and a lack of trust of intuition, because it's always that external sense of validation. When we go around asking people's opinion, they're always going to have a different opinion, aren't they? Particularly if it's a family member, because they want to keep you safe. My mum says to me things like, oh, don't be doing too much, you'll make yourself poorly again. And then all they're doing is trying to protect you, isn't it? So I think the least valuable opinion when you're running a business is from your parents. If you're going to ask the opinion of someone, ask someone who's been there and done it. They're going to be able to give you much more valuable advice, aren't they, about something that's going on. So then finally, we've got distorted masculine. So the need for control. Compensates lack of confidence by excessive action, like smashing through to the next goal, you know, constant do all the time. abusive towards yourself. Like, well, that was stupid. What did you do that for? You know, all that self-talk. We don't talk to others that way, but we give ourselves a hard time, don't we? Stop that. It's not healthy. Over-delivering, lack of authenticity, masks, punish yourself, avoids, doesn't address the issue, doesn't want to look. Like, no, I'm going to look at that later. When we relate it to money, it's about not opening credit card statements. It's about not looking at your bank account. It's getting further and further into debt. Aggressive drama. Need for perfection. Perfection's not real. Perfection is, I call it doing it messy. Now, I don't mean, you know, make an absolute pig's ear of it. But get it out there, do it, because if you don't test it and see whether there's a demand for it, you're never going to know. And you could have spent months and months and months perfecting this particular thing, and then actually nobody wants it. So get it out there, test the market. And then just the smaller bullet points. So domineering, bullying, and we see this in men and women, don't we? My old line manager, oh goodness. Stuck, aggressive, ball breaker, pushes through to burnout, sees no value without action, undervalues feminine qualities such as compassion, kindness, and intuition. Projection, so projecting their stuff onto your stuff, works 24/7, continual need for academic achievement. There'll be some stuff there that I'm sure all of you will recognise. And again, we can dip in and out of masculine and feminine, depending how we're feeling, who we're with, what's going on work-wise, all that stuff. It's getting the balance right, isn't it? So let's just have a look at your comments. Ah, Joanne, good point, honey. Next Monday is bank holiday. Will you be running the course next Monday? Good question. Not thought about that. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a little poll in the group, and then whatever you vote on, I'll go with. Okay. Yeah. Is that good enough? They are always recorded, of course, but there's no substitute for doing it live, is there? So I'm happy to do it on the Monday if you want me to do it on the Monday. Okay. So next. I think the final bit of this, before we go on to what I'm going to ask of you, is ask empowering questions. When we ask empowering questions rather than disempowering questions, you get much smarter answers. We practice this a little bit in our Wise Women groups. I've put some examples of these in your notes. So what we tend to do is ask questions like, why are you doing that? And what happens is when we start a question with why, the recipient of the question will go into defense mode. Well, because you can hear it in the language and the energy. So there's some examples of some empowering questions which you can ask other people. They're great coaching questions, or you can ask yourself when perhaps there's a lesson that you needed to learn. Well, I've put this in the first module because I want you to ask me empowering questions. Well, when we get to the Thursday session, which is 1 till 2, originally I called it the Q&A session, but it's more than that. It's a reflection piece because we've got our fabulous guest speakers. One of them is the beautiful Sarah Linus, who is an expert on human design, and she's going to be delivering our human design. So it's going to be very special because she's actually taking part in the course as well. Yeah, so empowering questions. So when we look at, so one of them is, what good is here that I presently cannot see? It's a great question, that, isn't it? Because what we do is we beat ourselves up when things don't go quite the way we planned. So if we focus on the opposite side of the coin and go, well, actually, what came out of this that I can learn from? What's trying to emerge in my life? So I see patterns in things now. So it might be a person who shares something interesting's happened for me that over the last week or two around delivering this work commercially, business to business. And I've had 3 people who have either asked me questions about whether I do it in a work environment, or one lady asked me to submit a quote to help deliver a module on one of the courses that she's delivering, and it's B2B. So there's a pattern emerging around doing it on so business to business rather than business to consumer, if you don't know the terminology. What gift is trying to be born? So based on we all have a gift and we all have a medicine, what's your USP? What gift is trying to be born? You might have heard of Ikigai. Ikigai is do what you love. It's a Japanese phrase, and it's like 4 Olympic circles that all connect together. I'll pop it in the group. Do what you love. Do what people need. Do what you can get paid for, and do what you're good at. And right in the center is the Holy Grail. And this is, everything's connected. We just see things from different cultural perspectives, don't we? So if you see something where you've practiced it or you've come alive when you deliver it, that's a little glimmer of a gift that's coming through, that's bubbling to the surface. Because we have 5 brains: our head, our heart, our gut, and then 2 brains that sit here in the ether. And the most powerful brain, people talk about listening to your gut instinct, but the most powerful brain is your heart. Because when something makes you feel good, that's where we need to follow the trail to see what doors it's opening. Because it's always about how something makes you feel. Okay. So another couple of empowering question examples. What if I were prosperous? What would I do differently? So if money were no object, what would you do? Because when we do the things that light us up, then the money just comes anyway. We're obviously going to talk about this in a lot more detail when we get further down the course. And then finally, if I were successful, what does success look like for me? Because it's sometimes, a lot of the time, it's not about running a 7-figure business. It's about getting the balance right. And this is why I've talked about this on social media over the last couple of weeks. These people that are selling, you can earn 7 figures and my life changed when I did this one thing. It's actually, might not even be aligned to your energy. Like this group, perhaps my energy is aligned to running smaller groups so that they get the most value from me while I'm running them. Because particularly in these first 3 weeks, the nature of diving deep beneath the surface, we're going to uncover all sorts of things that are sitting there beneath the surface for you. And I need to be there to make sure that you feel safe and held and heard. Okay. So your exercise for this week is, your journaling exercise is, I want you to explore your limiting beliefs. It's in the workbook, so you don't need to write it down. Where do you feel you're holding yourself back? In what area of your life do you feel like you're a victim? What area of your life do you feel like you're the master? Your gifts do not belong to you. They're yours to share with the world. So by playing small, you're not serving anyone. Powerful that, isn't it? Do you already have a vision of what your life looks like? How far away from that vision are you? Okay. Has anybody got any more questions? What I've also done in the group is I've put a link to my diary for you to book that 2-hour session in the last week, which is the week commencing the 26th of June. And it'll be here before we know it. So if you want to book that in my diary now, based on what I said to you earlier, I tend to do my mornings where I'm doing my own creative work, and afternoons are one-to-one with clients and that sort of thing. You'll see that when you get my diary link, that week, it's just afternoon work. If you can't do afternoons for whatever reason, I want you to contact me and we can arrange something so that I can put it in the diary separately. So yeah, that's week commencing the 26th, your 2-hour energy healing session. And what's beautiful is, now that I've run this course a few times, the difference between the women who have done the course and do their energy session and the women who haven't done the course and book one-to-one energy healing without having done all this beautiful work beforehand is significantly different. So you'll see the difference. All right. So think about your powerful questions as you do the work through the week. If you want to remain anonymous and you don't want people to know who the question is from, then pop it in my WhatsApp and I won't mention who's asked me the question, if you see what I mean, because it might feel too vulnerable, especially the first couple of weeks as you're getting to know one another. All right. But I'm challenging you to set me some really cool questions for Thursday. Okay. We always end our sessions with a consciousness journey, a bit like a meditation. And what these do is they help release all the energetic debris that's sitting there in your energy system. Each one of these, a bit of feedback from one of the ladies that did the course a couple of sessions ago, was I've recorded all these so that you can listen to them whenever you want to and you don't have to go through the whole of the thingy. So they'll be in the guides, there will be the audio of each one of these consciousness journeys that you can listen to whenever you want to. Okay. So this one is called the Inner Child Activation. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to put your feet flat on the floor for me. You can turn your screens off as well if you feel a bit more comfortable doing that. I'll just have a little drink of water. So feet flat on the floor and with your palms facing upwards, resting in your lap. And that's an indication for receiving. I'd like you to just give your shoulders a bit of a wriggle just to get rid of any tension and take a nice deep breath in with your eyes closed. And breathe out. And another breath in. And out through your mouth. And then finally in. And out. There we go. So collecting your energy, bring your energy into your midline. Closing your eyes and focus on your spine. Allow your breath to move your body gently as you inhale and exhale. Allow the rhythm of your breath to bring peace into your heart. Ground your energy with your intention. Reach down into the earth and request an anchor from Mother Earth, growing down from your feet and legs into the earth. You'll feel your body get a little heavier and very stable. And with your intention, reach up to the universal plane and call down universal love. You do this by opening up your crown chakra, reaching upwards and request flow and love in that beautiful white sparkling energy. This is when you reach universal plane. Clearing your energetic aura by allowing universal love to flood over you, clearing off anything you no longer need. You're now connected above and below. Follow that light into your heart center. Removing your filters and judgments. Do this with intention. Put them into a metaphorical envelope to look at later and put the envelope aside. Empty your mind. Let universal love dissolve anything unwanted in your mind. Connect behind your eyes into your mind's eye and become a neutral observer. Notice the darkness that is the consciousness of you, the observer within, the part of you that came when you were born and will leave when you die. This is your consciousness. Acknowledge yourself. Expand the energy of your mind's eye and take your consciousness down through your body to your heart. Allow the energy of your heart to open up around you, creating a beautiful, soft green bubble of light that surrounds your body and your energetic aura. The heart center is green, but today it's golden light, in excitement for what's to come. Let yourself settle here and open up to the possibility of yourself. You'll see the soft golden energy begin to lead you along a corridor towards a light. As you approach the light, you see a huge vault. The vault is barred. The doors across its entrance, and inside you see every single expression of wealth. Abundance, gold, jewels, universal love, and your creativity, everything that you've ever known, heart-shaped crystals symbolizing love. But you can't get in, it's barred. Guarding the door to the vault is a small child. She looks up and recognizes you. She shows you a key. It's the key that unlocks the limitless potential of you. It's the key to the door of the vault. She's been keeping it for you. Together you unlock the vault, and as it opens, you are flooded with light. You step inside and it's filled with riches beyond your wildest dreams. Gold, jewels. She's dancing and singing. Your inner child becomes more vibrant. You see that the wealth and abundance inside the vault is her. And as she plays and dances within the vault, she becomes more vivid, more vibrant, more creative, and more joyful. Now is the time to activate the power of your inner child within. Both of you are filled with love and abundance. Both of you receive grace. The light floods around you, pouring out of the vault. Abundance, wealth, gold, precious jewels, however it's symbolized for you. Love. It comes back through the tunnel with your inner child. She's skipping and she's happy. This light connects to a special heart center, flooding it, filling it up. bringing your heart to your heart center in your chest as you do. Reaffirm the inner child is activated and open and ready for use. I am all that I am. And then take a breath. And softly and slowly, you notice your breath and your body. So sorry. Bringing you back to this place and this time, and opening your eyes. I'm so sorry for that sneeze. I couldn't help myself. There was definitely something going on there. I'm like, no, not now. Everything happens for a reason. There was obviously something just I was releasing and letting go. That was so powerful. I could feel the energy of that. She was beautiful. Does anybody want to share what came up for them? If there was any like visual or feeling or anything that they felt?
I will, if it's okay, just because
Absolutely.
I was following your voice and I could see everything that you were saying. But when I'd got to the vault, there was me as a 4-year-old. And they took me to my old school and some things that had happened there. Is that like a normal thing to kind of, because I was trying to, it's like I were in two places at once, if that makes sense. So I could see what you were showing me, but I was also back there as well. And something had come up about like around racism and stuff. But what they were actually showing me is feeling like I didn't belong anywhere and I didn't have like the support because I didn't understand what was going on. Do you know what I mean? Because as a child, people are just people, aren't they? And you take people as they are. So I don't know if there's like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Does that make sense?
It does. So there's so our subconscious is the most powerful part of who we are, our energy system. So there's a message there for you, Leonie, about going back into that 4-year-old self. There will be something energetically that's trapped emotion that's sitting in your energy system that needs looking at from at school while you were 4. So do some journaling on that, sweetheart. If you need any help with it, just let me know.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share anything that came up for them? Minka, yes, honey.
I can go. First of all, it was before we started what like that guided journey. I was like, how are we gonna find out which are our limiting beliefs? Because they're like a blind spot usually. We're not aware that this is otherwise. It won't be a limiting belief for it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, we started and I'm like, okay, now we're gonna find them. And then when we got to the key, it's like, my limiting beliefs are in that key, but then I didn't see it. It's like I'm clear that the key is that unlocks our beyond, but then it's like, what are the things that are making the key? Like a lot of logic at the same time is coming in. Like, what is it made of? What are all these limiting beliefs that unlock that door?
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, thank you. Because I've not talked about your limiting belief bucket, have I? No. Okay. So, in answer to your question, don't worry about the logical mind stuff because it's a bit like layers. If you imagine a big cobweb, and what we're doing is we're peeling away the layers. If you didn't get any, what our conscious mind does is it wants us to do exactly what's happened with you, Minka, where we're trying to make sense of it all at a logical level. We don't need to make sense of it at a logical level because what will happen over this next 6 weeks is that the limiting beliefs will start to come up. When you do your journaling around those questions in the workbook, you'll see some of them come up. And what I want to encourage you to do is share them in the group for everyone else. There's a reason that all 6 of you are here doing this course together. There's a reason, there always is. There's a reason that you're all at that same level of awareness between 2 and 3. Wasn't that interesting? So when you start to share your limiting beliefs in the group, they will resonate with other people. You'll be helping other people see what theirs are. And as you start to uncover them over the next 6 weeks, I'm encouraging you to write them down and put them in the bucket. Because on the final week of the course, we're going to do a really powerful releasing process to let go of all those limiting beliefs. So the more you can get in there, and you might see that some of them are the same, you know, about I'm not good enough, I have to work hard for a living, who do I think I am? You know, all that stuff, no matter how big or how small, get it in the bucket. So thank you for mentioning that, Minka, because I'd forgotten to mention the bucket.
Okay.
Okay.
And I was yawning a lot.
Yes, I saw.
And the other thing is, now that as you were speaking, what came is like, why do I even need to go in that room? Like, it's not for me.
So the first thing is the yawning. So the yawning, I'm the only person that I know that loves it when my clients yawn. Because what you're doing is your subconscious is absorbing that information. It knows it needs it. So by yawning, you're taking in more oxygen, and it's like, I need this, I need this, I need this. Okay, so that's a good sign that you're doing lots of yawning. And the other bit was, sorry, what did you ask me?
Like, why do you even need to go to that room? It's
Yeah.
like, it's not for me.
That's sabotage. So your subconscious is going, no, don't want to go there. I don't want to sort this out. I'm and ego. So what we want to do is keep in the same place, because we're keeping ourselves safe and playing small.
Mm.
So we have to go in that room, because that's where, as it says, that's where all the gifts and the jewels lie. That's the secret to your growth. I'm holding your hand. I'm going to take you there. You are safe. You are loved. It's all okay. Okay, honey?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess it's like new zone, like out of my comfort, and it's
Yeah,
unrecognizable, maybe.
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anybody else? Joanne. Yes, Joanne.
Yeah, able to get to the cave. Absolutely love the cave. Child dancing around, both of us dancing around. Able to come out of the cave. However, when you actually got out of the cave, the child seemed to grow up, take the gold, but the child seemed to grow up and become more sensible rather than remain a child.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So symbology is very powerful when we do these consciousness journeys. So I do encourage you to share these things. I think that message for you, Joanne, is about start being more playful.
Playful.
To
Yeah.
that inner child
Yeah.
more.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. I'm getting confirmation that that's
Yeah.
right.
I'm
for you.
getting, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, become more playful. Yeah, because sensible. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, universe.
Anybody else want to share anything? Sarah, yes or no?
So what I noticed, Francis, is that I got to the vault okay, lovely, got my inner child. She's been hanging around a bit more recently, so quite familiar with her. But then I started coughing. It's like something was trying to disturb me from going any further. I've been fine all morning, not coughed. I don't need to cough now. But just that moment, I was like, yeah, this is something getting, there was that almost that feeling of, yeah, something always gets in my way. I can't do it, but everybody else will be doing it. That was that really little niggly, slightly victim like, oh, why does that happen to me?
So you
What's
said two
stopping me?
things there. Something always gets in my way,
Mm,
and I can't do this. Did you say I can't
yeah,
do
but
this?
everybody else will be doing it.
But everybody else will be doing it. So
Yeah, there was that little niggle came up.
there's two limiting beliefs there. Get them written down. Get them in your bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah. See that? Can you hear that? Can you see the power of sharing stuff? Because we don't hear it. That language and that belief has been in our system for such a long time. It's like autopilot. We don't even know that it's playing. So please share the stuff because, you know, whether it's verbal like this or if it's in the group. What about you, Farida, honey?
I had so my mind kept wandering, and then when I did get to the room and you were talking about the gold and the jewels, there was this almost like I shouldn't be you know, I don't need to see that. There was a sort of a pull away from it. That's too much. That's too good. Oh, there's, you know, that was probably what I felt in that aspect.
Can I just explore that with you? That's too
Yeah.
much. That's too good. Why did you feel that?
It was as in I felt like it was almost wrong to have that much, the jewels and the gold and the goodness.
Wow. So that's quite revealing, isn't it? I
Mm.
wonder if so there's a limiting belief sitting there about not feeling deserving of being wealthy, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I don't know if it was related to sort of the success and the because obviously wealth can translate to success for some people.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was it. I think it's something I probably need to delve into more.
Yeah, I think it's worth doing a bit of journaling around wealth and success for you. So you know how we asked those empowering questions? Let me just have a look at the questions and see which question I want you to really focus on to get to the bottom of that phrase. What if I was prosperous, successful? What would I do differently? That's your key piece of homework.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry about getting this absolute right this week, because next week, all the weeks all blend into one another. So we've done surface layer stuff this week. Next week, it's about breaking patterns. So that's like the deeper level of what we're doing this week. And as I say, the more you do, the deeper you go with this, the more transformation you'll get. So spend a bit of time on, you know, like a reflection time on doing some journaling, looking at what that inner child brought for you. Because symbology is very, very powerful. And it's making sense of what those messages are. You've all had some beautiful messages in that session today. That playful inner child is the key to everything, honestly. Yeah. So don't worry about getting it now. You know, reach out to me if there's anything else that you want to ask me in the meantime. You might get something come up while you're doing some journaling. And share your limiting beliefs in the group. So there we are. We're done. I'll see you. Just a minute. I'm just checking to see if I've got everything. Yes. Yeah. I'll see you. There'll be a few bits and bobs in the group, a bit, you know, because obviously I've got a few things to share with you today. So don't feel